Hello everybody, this is Jeff, the Hawaiian Brocanic. Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'll be replacing the AC compressor in a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon. That's a mouthful. So what you're going to need for this project are some manifold gauges. You need to make sure that these are for 1234YF refrigerant. If you don't have a R1234YF compatible manifold gauge, then you're going to need to get these coupler sets here, these adapters, which you can purchase from your local auto parts store, O'Reilly's or AutoZone. And of course, the compressor. This comes from O'Reilly's. This is the Murray brand. And also cans of refrigerant. Roughly a little over about a pound, so about 2 cans and maybe a couple of ounces off a third can. So the problem with the air conditioning is that it doesn't blow cold air anymore. Now I went and checked the expansion valve and had that replaced initially, and that did not solve the issue. So I took a closer look at the AC compressor and found that the clutch wasn't engaging. It was very, very intermittent. In fact, you couldn't really hear it click on. It would just kind of slowly turn and then would slowly, gradually pick up speed, which means that the AC compressor is not working properly. So hence this video and the replacement of the AC compressor. So like always, I'll have helpful captions throughout the video. With that said, let's start brocanicking. All right, just wanted to go over really quick how to remove the serpentine belt from the AC compressor, which is right down here. You're going to need to move this component out the way, which is bolted right underneath the alternator, as you've seen earlier in the video. These are two 13mm bolts. They come out. You can kind of move this out the way, and then right down there is where the tensioner is at. This is a 1/2-inch extension. And a really large breaker bar. What you do is you rotate the breaker bar clockwise, and once the tension is released, with the other hand you go ahead and pull back the serpentine belt, and that's how it's done. So let's keep brocanicking. All right, so the AC compressor is out. This is the old, and this is the new. Now what we're gonna need to do is drain out the oil that's already in there. Label says that it already comes pre-charged with 3 ounces, but just to be safe, we're gonna dump it out anyway. A lot of times the oil that's in there is shipping oil. It keeps the internals from rusting or corroding. So we're gonna dump out the contents into this cup here, kind of get a gauge of how many ounces. Should be 3. And what we'll do then is that we will refill the compressor with this oil that comes with the kit, the HFO 123YF oil that goes into the compressor. All right, let's keep mechanicking. right, so AC compressor is in, and that was no easy task. Difficult when you have to do it by yourself. So what I had to do initially is, trying to get it back in. I made the mistake of putting in the bolt on the top, the mounting bolt on the very top, and kind of snugging it up. And it didn't line up the very bottom, those two bolts at the bottom. So I had to back it out completely and start it from the bottom two bolts, and then thread the top. But even then, though, very limited space. I had the traction bar, or that sway bar, that was in the way, so very limited space. I was thinking about maybe, pulling out the fender liner on the driver's side and see if I could access the compressor that way, but that wasn't going to happen because you got the shock tower in the way. So, but I managed to get it in 2.5 hours later, and now I just, pulling vacuum. I'm gonna let this go for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then let it sit for a bit, check to make sure there's no leaks. And that's said and done, we'll go and charge the system. So let's keep mechanicking.
1 hour later.
All right, so it's been about an hour. I'm gonna go and turn off the pump and let it sit for about 45 minutes to an hour. And we'll be right back.
1 hour later.
All right, so it's been over an hour. It looks like it's holding vacuum. There are no leaks, so we are good to add refrigerant. Okay, so here we are. It's blowing at 40 degrees. That's where we want it, right there in the green. Well, gang, that wraps up another project. The AEC compressor install on a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon. So just my final thoughts on this project. It was pretty difficult to maneuver through all the tight spaces there. There's a lot of things that were in the way. There are a few videos out there that kind of show you, different ways to work around and things to move out of the way, but I decided to kind of attack it without, removing the front or disassembling the sway bars or whatever it is that's blocking the compressor. The frustrating part was the installation, because with one person it's very difficult for you to push it up with one hand while trying to thread the bolt through the compressor, and gravity was the enemy in this installation. So after about 2.5 hours of fighting with it, I finally got it all installed. But it can be done. Now, there's maybe a few of you out there who have done this before in a Jeep. If you guys have a better way of doing it, besides taking it to a shop and not dealing with it, please leave it in the comment section. I'd like to know. Anyway, I'll have a link in the description below where you can get the AC compressor and as well as other stuff that I used in the video. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe. It really helps this channel grow. See you guys in the next one. This is your Hawaiian Volcanic. Aloha.